Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2600 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. In today's Wisdom Nugget, I'll guide you on a trek through God's Word, exploring truths that can transform our lives one step at a time. Thank you for joining me today as we conclude our thoughtful journey through Psalm 55. Today we are focusing on the closing verses of Psalm 55, verses 20 through 23. Throughout this psalm, we've seen David pour his heart out in deep anguish over betrayal, yet he continually turns his eyes toward God, reaffirming his trust. These final verses bring clarity to the nature of David's pain, highlighting God's justice and encouraging us toward authentic trust, even when life feels confusing and painful. So let's read Psalm 55, verses 20 through 23 from the New Living Translation together. As for my companion, he betrayed his friends. He broke his promises. His words are smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are soothing as lotion, but underneath there are daggers. Give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall. But you, O God, will send the wicked down to the pit of destruction. Murderers and liars will die young. But I am trusting you to save me. David begins his final portion by vividly describing the nature of his deep emotional pain. As for my companion, he betrayed his friends. He broke his promises. His words are smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are soothing as lotion, but underneath there are daggers. In these verses, David pinpoints the source of his distress: betrayal by somebody close, a trusted companion. It's essential to recognize the intensity here. David isn't simply troubled by enemy armies or hostile nations. Instead, the most profound pain comes from those within our own circle, from somebody he had truly trusted. In the ancient Israelite culture, friendships were sacred. Covenants, promises, and trust formed the very fabric of the relationships, binding families, the tribes, and the communities. To betray these bonds wasn't just hurtful, it was deeply shameful, destructive, and dishonorable. David emphasizes the betrayal vividly. His words are smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. Externally, this person appeared loyal, kind, supportive, and even comforting. Internally, however, he harbored destructive intent, ready to strike at the first opportunity. David uses another striking image. His words are soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers. Outward charm masks inward deceit, making betrayal especially painful. Historically, scholars often associate Psalm 55 with Ahithophel's betrayal. Ahithophel was David's wise counselor, highly respected and trusted. But when David's son Absalom rebelled, Ahithophel switched allegiances. This personal betrayal deeply wounded David, prompting this painful, heartfelt psalm. Imagine a trusted friend that you regularly confide in, somebody you shared your deepest struggles and secrets with. Then one day you discover this person has been secretly working against you, sharing your private conversations and using them to harm you. The pain you'd feel would be immense. David's situation was similar. He experienced the deep emotional wound of betrayal from somebody who he once seemed trustworthy. Have you ever experienced betrayal from somebody close? Such wounds cut deeper than a physical injury. In Psalm 55, it reminds us that we're not alone in these painful experiences. God fully understands our pain and invites us to bring our deepest relational wounds directly to Him. In the midst of describing an intense betrayal, David suddenly offers profound spiritual advice. Give your burdens to the Lord, and He will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall. These verses mark a significant turning point for David. David moves from focusing on his betrayer toward encouraging us, all who experience life's pains, to trust deeply in God's faithfulness. Despite profound hurt, David's ultimate advice isn't revenge or bitterness, but trust, actively casting our burdens onto God. The idea of casting burdens was powerful in the ancient Israelite worldview. It wasn't passive, it implied actively transferring a heavy weight to someone stronger. Just as a traveler might hand over a heavy luggage to somebody stronger, David advises intentionally giving our heavy emotional and spiritual burdens to God. He reassures us, He will not permit the godly to slip and fall. David confidently believes that those who trust in God will ultimately remain secure, even amid betrayal, pain, and confusion. Imagine hiking on a long trail, carrying a heavy backpack. After many exhausting miles, a friend who is stronger, fresher, and eager to help offers to carry your load. You wouldn't refuse. You'd gratefully hand it over, relieved. God invites you to do the same spiritually, handing Him our burdens, trusting Him to carry what we cannot. Are we actively casting our burdens upon God? Or are we still carrying the heavy weight of worry, hurt, and bitterness? David reminds us today, release your burdens to the Lord. Trust Him fully. He will care for you and protect you. David concludes Psalm 55 with a reaffirming trust in God's justice. In verse 23 he says, "But you, O God, will send the wicked down to the pit of destruction. Murderers and liars will die young, but I am trusting you to save me." David clearly acknowledges God's justice. He knows God will ultimately deal with the evil. Despite the pain he currently experiences, he confidently places his future in God's hands, trusting divine justice rather than seeking personal revenge. The phrase, the pit of destruction, in ancient Israel represented the dark, final judgment reserved for those who are truly wicked, those who rebelled openly against God. David recognizes that, though justice might seem delayed, it is certain wickedness will never triumph forever. He declares, "I am trusting you to save me," a profound affirmation of faith. David's pain, anger, and sense of betrayal led him not into bitterness, but into deeper dependence upon God. He consciously chooses trust over vengeance, hope over despair, and confidence in God's righteous timing. Considers farmers planting seeds once again. They trust the natural law. What you plant, you will eventually grow. Evil actions, like seeds, produce inevitable results. Even when justice seems delayed, God's law of righteousness ensures the consequences will eventually come. When facing injustice or betrayal, we can similarly trust in God's timing and justice rather than trying to settle the score ourselves. David's trust inspires us to release anger, bitterness, and revenge, knowing God is perfectly capable of handling justice on our behalf. Here are a few key insights from Psalm 55 to verses 20 through 23. First, betrayal by a close friend hurts deeply and profoundly. Second, God invites us to actively cast our burdens onto Him. Third, God cares deeply for our pain and promises stability. Fourth, ultimate justice belongs to God. We can trust His timing. And fifth, choosing trust over bitterness brings genuine peace and healing. Psalm 55 verses 20 through 23 vividly captures the intense emotional pain from betrayal and directs us clearly toward trusting God. David's honest expression of anguish, combined with his steadfast trust, provides an authentic model of how we should respond to life's deepest hurts. If you're experiencing betrayal, emotional pain, or overwhelming burdens today, remember David's advice. Cast your burdens on the Lord. Trust Him completely. He genuinely cares for you and will faithfully uphold you. Thank you for joining me today on our Wisdom Trek. May Psalm 55 deepen your trust and reliance in God's unwavering care. Until we journey together again, my friends, may God's wisdom guide your steps and may His peace fill your hearts. And if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, and most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.